We're into the nuts and bolts now in chapters 4 and 5, and certainly in chapter 6, to help you on your way to becoming a better message writer and presenter. You have to know first what you want to say, how you're going to plan that message, how you're going to write it, or how you're going to present it, who your audience is. Figure that out too. So let's get to some of the slides in chapter 4. Please review all of the slides and do the reading so that you really understand the messages in chapter 4. They're really important. Just like cooking, there's a process on how to do it right. You start with that idea, you figure out your message and how to send it. Your receiver gets the message and there's feedback, and just like life, it's a circle. It continues. What goes into that message? The communication climate? What context are you expressing? And what is the setting in which this is happening? What is your receiver's background? Do they know anything about the topic? And what mood are they in? What knowledge do they have? And when I mean mood, do you want to send a really important message at 4 o'clock on Friday afternoon at the end of the day? Probably not. Also, culture, beliefs, and values play a role in understanding messages. There are obstacles that do get in the way. We are not perfect, and neither is our communication. Always consider the you view. What does your receiver, the reader, the group of people getting your message, what do they need to know? You have to improve your language and your listening skills to improve your messaging. Do you have any preconceived notions about the audience that you're writing or presenting to that could interfere with your message? And always encourage feedback. Reach out if you have any questions. Reach out with your issues. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Those are words that help engage your audience. Everyone has goals in their business writing. You'll want to win the sale. You want to impress someone. You want to change their mind, perhaps. So you have to be purposeful, economical, and again, focused on that audience. In the 3x3 writing process that is gone over in your textbook over and over again applies to every business message. You have to figure out your audience. What is their reaction going to be? Consider that you view, adapt that message to the audience, and then draft it. That rough draft is really important. Don't just hammer out the message and hit send. You have to plan this. And then, in red there, revise, edit for clarity, proofread for any errors in any grammar, spelling of names, punctuation or lack of punctuation. And ask yourself, will your message accomplish the goals, no matter what they are? This is a really important slide. You spend 25% planning the message, then 25% drafting the message, and 50% revising. So if you spent 10 minutes pre-writing and drafting, you need to spend another 10 minutes revising and proofreading. Sometimes I will write a message that's 3 or 4 sentences, and I'll go through it 3 or 4 or 5 times and change it. Sometimes I'll throw it out and start over because it's not clear, concise. I just didn't have the words right. I need to start over. Sometimes you need to do that even with the simplest of messages. Who's your audience? Who are you sending this to? Is it a personal message? Is there a professional relationship? Is it a manager? How much do they know? What are their beliefs? Do you expect them to be positive, negative, neutral about your message? The secondary audience, that can be somebody who is copied on the message, or perhaps your message gets forwarded to someone else. You have to look at that big picture when it comes to your message. And every receiver is thinking, what's in it for me? The number one way to get your message across is face-to-face. Hands down, always the best way. The toughest way is face-to-face, often, but it's the best way. And there's that old telephone. Remember, you would actually pick up the phone and call somebody and reach someone on the other end? That's the second way. And then the other ways become less rich in terms of being able to communicate well. The other 5, letters, memos, blogs, reports, wikis, they're all down there at the bottom. You need to figure out your audience benefits. What's in it for them? You have to develop that you view by using conversational language, professional language, language that they can understand and relate to. Always be positive as possible. It always will benefit you and your audience to have a positive and courteous tone. And of course, be bias-free. Use plain language, not those academic words that you try to put in your academic papers. And be expressive. Here are a couple of benefits, reader benefits in the UView examples for this. And you can try to understand this. The second one there, we're issuing a refund. We are issuing a refund. That is not the UView. If the sentence starts with we take pleasure, we are issuing, it has nothing to do with your reader. They're asking, what's in it for me? Okay, but you say, we're issuing a refund. Can't they see that? It's indirect. It's passive. You will receive a refund. An agreement with Dell allows you and other students to buy discounted laptops. I have a few questions. Is that UView? Your feedback is important. Please tell us your thoughts. Now, you don't want to overuse the UView. See the document in the chapter writing assignment that just simply goes over how not to overuse the UView. Watch for negative expressions in your writing that can have hidden meanings for your audience. And these are just some of them. And there's the biased language, which is fairly obvious, but we go over it anyway to make sure that everyone's on the same page here. Familiar words, very important. Interrogate. Pretty easy word to understand, but try to question. Ambivalent, unsure, uncertain. Team writing is really important. You do projects in this and other classes. More than one person is involved. There are short deadlines, and you need diverse groups of people to work on projects. If you all think the same way, you're going to have a problem. Promise. Team writing has those same phases: planning, drafting, and revising. What can you do to make your project better? Again, that positive attitude is really important. Polite statements. I suggest. You might consider, how about trying this instead of that? And the ever famous yes and. Instead of no but, yes and. Yes, I hear what you're saying, and let's try this. Those are some strategies to help the team writing process progress. Those are just some of the highlights in Chapter 4, Planning Business Messages. Fill in some of the blanks here by checking out the full set of PowerPoint slides, as well as reading Chapter 4, and of course doing the assignments in which you will earn points. Good luck.